Welcome to another Numbering the Days weekly episode from the ancient Biblical Calendar. It is week 21 and the grape harvest is in full swing. The bonus of this week's video is a comparison word study of the two words in Yahudyath, or better known as Paleo Hebrew, that have both been translated as vine in English. Two very different words with different shades of meaning to them. We will be revealing in this video how there is more to vines and more to grapes in Scripture than you might have been aware of. So stick around to watch this after the very brief review of Week 21's events. Let's get started. Welcome to Numbering Today's channel. It's week 21 on the creation calendar, and we are starting off on day 20 this week. It's the 21st week of the year. It's the 141st day of the year. And all that we have on the calendar this week is we are counting down to new oil. Starting on day 18. This is the week where they would be harvesting the grapes, and there's another 49-day count that's going to take everybody to the Feast of New Oil, and that is all that's on the calendar this week. So now on to the bonus. Welcome. I'm Sierra, your host today. It is week 21. And the study on the vines, two words, is the bonus for week 21, and I'm also placing it as a separate word study video so that I can place it in two different locations eventually on our YouTube channel, and people can find this information from either location. Okay, so this study is going over the word for vines, and we're presenting this again during the time of the grape harvest to further consider and better understand the scriptures of what's going on. And our first word is Geffen, and it's found 55 times in Scripture. Got it on the screen here for you. It's spelled Gimel, Pei, Nun, Geffen. The Pei sounds like a P or an F, and it's Strong's number H1612, and the meanings I've pulled from the Strong's information, and also from the Klein's Etymological Dictionary. It means a vine or a vine tree. It represents something that's twisting together. It says it's from an unused root, meaning to blend something together. In figurative usage, Israel is referred to as a vine or your prosperity. In the Bible, it was translated as vine or tree. So the components of Geffen, there's two. We have the first two letters, the Gimel Pei, and the second two letters, Pei Nun. Both of those are words. So Gimel Pei, here's your Strong's numbers. It's got multiple Strong's entries, means upon the back, something on the back. The body of a person or a wing of a bird. Of course, they're attached to the back of the bird. It's from an unused root meaning to arch. Wings, if you think about a bird's wings, it forms an arch as it's flapping its wings, and your back is also an arched structure with the rib cage. It also says by extension, the body or the self. It refers to high places. Of course, birds go to high places. And then there was another thing that was really interesting. It's been referred to as himself. Now, It's in Exodus 21:3. We're going to look at it in just a little bit, and it means without his woman. If the man is without his woman, then he's by himself. He's geffen, which I thought was really interesting. Now, Peinun in Arabic means a kind, species, or type. They really don't have, in Klein's etymological dictionary, a Yahudyath meaning. It was all foreign words. So in Arabic, and I know back, that's another discussion. Okay, Greek. In Greek, Peinun means Pan, the myth god. We all have heard of Pan. Okay. They've also put in information that this word is supposed to mean used as a result of something you fear or wish to remove. So you take evasive action. Okay? In the verses, it was translated as like lest or not, or beware lest this happen to you. It's the word pan. So when I thought about alternative meanings for these components, this was an unusual word to do. I'd never done it before until right now when we've been doing this study this week. I thought, okay, we're going to beware of wings or extensions. We're going to beware of arches of high places. I know there was a famous arch that traveled around the world not too many years ago that got a lot of attention, and it was not an arch you'd want to go through. You would beware of it. Something upon the extensions or backside relating to kinds or species of DNA. Something hijacking your DNA, hijacking your backside. Something upon the extensions or backside to be aware of and avoid. I mean, this was hard to kind of put together. And that's the best I could do. If you have any other suggestions, please leave them in the comments. Okay, so when I thought about the Yahudyath letters themselves, I'm seeing that what was nurtured inside, the Gimel energizes it, and it's coming through an opening or a portal to burst through. See, like this is like the birthing process, and something has been energized and is coming through. It could be a portal, a multi-dimensional portal. It could be coming through the birth canal, but it's coming through some sort of opening and portal, and it's going to manifest. Okay, so the vine, like Yahusha says, he's the vine and we're the branches. Well, we're supposed to abide in him, and his life comes through us, his presence, his ruach comes through us to manifest. It's coming through. It's going to geffen. It's going to come out of the branches. Okay. The next word that's been translated vine in English is sharaka or shareka. I'm not the expert, I've told you many times before, on pronunciations, but it's Shin Resh Kuf. It's only found in 3 verses, so we have 55 for geffen and 3 times for shareka. I think that's kind of interesting. Here's the Strong's reference number for you. Its basic meaning is a choice species of vine, or the choicest grapes. Notice they put the word species in there. And you really don't think of a vine as a species, but, back up here in Arabic, they're picking up on the fact that this somehow is a species it's a kind. Okay. Remember, Father said, don't mix kinds. Kind is supposed to reproduce after kind. Okay. In the biblical usage, it's either been called the choice vine or the noble vine. And it's got 2 component words. Shin Resh is the first one, which is where we get like Shar Shalom, the Prince of Peace. It's the Shar word. Prince, ruler, leader, chief, chieftain, captain, ruler of rulers. And the Red Dictionary, Klein's adds chain and bracelet. I don't know. That didn't seem to have any relevance to me other than vines are a chain. I mean, they twine around and they look like a chain. I guess, women have the bracelets that they put their trinkets on. So that could be where that comes from. I want you to also note, if you were to remove the kuf and put a yod there, then you have Sarai's name before it was changed. So this is Prince, Ruler, Chief, Captain, Prince. The second word is Reshkuf. Here's your references for it, and it refers to the temple part of the head, the thinnest part, thin and lean. So we all know where our temples are. Okay, and when I came to alternate meanings on this, I couldn't, nothing flowed. If you've got some insight into how those two words fit together and any different meaning about how we're going to go from the Prince, Ruler, Chief, it's where he's thinking, I don't know, it's in his in his brain. They're thin, they're lean. I would really appreciate your insight on this, because I could not have any until I looked at the Yahudyath enhanced and looking at the letters. Then I had some thoughts. The crowned ruler that elevates others or is elevated. See, because the kuf is all about raising something up, ascending into the clouds, receiving a vision that you bring back and to share with others. So we've got this prince, chief, ruler that's sanctified and tested, an elder, and then they're above all others, because this was the choicest vines. They're above all other vines. Okay? We have the sanctified, tested ruler, prophet, or elder who is connected to the heavenlies. I mean, we think of prophets. They were connected to above. They were connected through the Ruach to receiving information from above. So that's what I see in this other vine. It's a connected vine. Okay. So I'm going to give you some things to ponder. I'm not going to answer all the questions. That's really what our community is for, what other things I might have to say, but I'm going to give you some thoughts, and maybe your fellowships will have fun with this information, and it'll spur some interesting discussions. I hope it does within our own Sabbath group, in our community. I hope we get to talk about this. I looked at all the vine verses in Scripture, and there were many interesting things, but not the time to address them all. I mean, I looked at all 55 verses. And you go through this section, as you go through here, keep in mind the content of our videos in this very season. All the videos that we've done on the grape harvest. There's 2 parts there. Okay, first thing that I thought was very interesting was Exodus 21:3. In English, it does not have the word vine. It didn't translate it as vine. It translated it as by himself. And, it's a word that usually is translated vine. So I thought, okay, he's by himself. I think that this verse has got clearly a deep level of understanding that we should be trying to delve into and get out of it. It's like someone had use of the vine, or the vine had extensions, the wife, because this is in the context of a Hebrew servant who is getting to be released. Okay, so if the vine had twining that happened to it, he had a wife, he had extensions, she's gonna go with him. But if he was alone and there was nothing twined together to him, then he must be set free too, but it's just him. So I was reminded of the 2nd chapter in Genesis, where Eve is taken from Adam's side. When you look at the fullness of the word rib, you understand that it's his side. It's like half of him. So like the vine was split, and then thinking about the double helix of the DNA, and how we receive chromosomes from both parents, and they're twined or twisted together like a grapevine to form an extension. The grapevine of the family grows, and the branches are the children that come from the twining of the mother and the father. So the by himself is where the word Geffen is, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Okay, number 2. The definitions for Geffen, the most common word, the one that's in there 55 times, support the pondering of kinds and species as it relates to the word translated as vine. For instance, we could view this verse in Deuteronomy below as figuratively speaking in multiple ways. I mean, many people read this verse 32 there in Deuteronomy 32, and they think of doctrine, but we could also think about the DNA of the vines. Remember that the word becomes flesh. Okay, Deuteronomy 32. For their vine is as of the vine of Sodom, and the fields of Amorah. Their grapes are grapes of gall, and their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of dragons, and the cruel venom of asps. Okay, so in the field of epigenetics and its relationship to our thoughts and words that we chew on in our minds, affecting the gene expression of our DNA, it's a deeper level of pondering these very scriptures. On our channel, I know just recently in a couple of videos that we brought this up. There are admonishings in Scripture to not adulterate or mix species or kinds of things. The Genesis flood reset came because of the genetic corruption of flesh upon the earth. So too in our modern world in recent years, we have been having to ponder these issues with the things that have been released. I know you know what I'm talking about. So when you read Joel's verse, Joel 1 verse 12, read it again. Ponder how it might be the DNA of the vine that is drying up. What is drying up here? Because it says, verse 12, the vine is dried up, and the fig tree languisheth, and the pomegranate tree, and the palm tree also, and the apple tree, and all the trees of the field are withered, because the joy is withered away from the sons of men. So this word for vine, Geffen, ends in the letter Nun, which is all about energizing what was nurtured inside, remember? So in Joel above, the Nun is failing. The energy of the Gimel is not there like it was before. Things are not being brought to coming forth like they're supposed to. They're not being born like they're supposed to. Things are languishing. The energy is being dried up. Okay. Last thing, point number 3. The last thing I want to mention is when you are studying words like this and you find one word that's 55 times in use and then another word, the sharaka, that's only used 3 times, it should get your attention. What is the difference? What is special about those 3 verses that the scribes did not use the other main word? I mean, sometimes when I've studied, I've had to ask myself, why did they pick this word when there's another word that you would think would fit it better? I mean, why did the scribe use this one? So, why was the word chosen? And how does it set apart these 3 verses from the other 55? See, these 3 verses, you should think about them in reference to the other ones. Like, how are these different? What is it trying to tell me? What is the choice vine? Okay. Genesis 49:11 is one of the verses. It says, binding his foal unto the vine, the Geffen, and his ass's colt unto the choice vine, the sharaka. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. And I think you should study this verse with these other 2. Zechariah 9:9, because it talks about the colt and the ass, and Matthew 21:5. They're both about the daughter of Zion. Tell the daughter of Zion, behold, thy king cometh unto thee, meek and sitting upon an ass, and a colt the foal of an ass. Okay, we just said the ass's colt was the choicest vine in Genesis 49:11. Okay. Isaiah 5:2. And he fenced it, and gathered out the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine, the sharaka, and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. Okay. We know that there's 2 parables of the vineyard in Scripture. There's the one that Yahusha told, and there's one that Isaiah tells here in chapter 5. Now in Jeremiah 21, this is the 3rd example of sharaka. Yet I planted thee a noble vine, a sharaka, a holy right seed. How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange Geffen unto me? So see, Jeremiah is saying that the people planted a right seed, a right kind, a noble vine, were turned, changed into a degenerate Geffen. Okay, they're no longer the choice and noble vine. Something changed in them. Okay, that's all I have for you today. And for those in our community that study with us, and when you go and find this PDF, there is a bonus section that I'd like to talk about on Sabbath. And that ends this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please like our video, leave us comments, subscribe to our channel for more wonderful word studies. Shalom.
Body all the time, never takes a break, he's always right. Working all day and every night. Money all the time, he never shifts at all, he stays the same.